My name is Hank Bailey, and I am the president of Software AG Government Solutions. I've been at Software AG, the parent organization, for about 20 years. One of the biggest things that we're trying to help address is reducing complexity. Now, if you look at the landscape of government organizations, agencies of all shapes and sizes, there's a lot of complexity. And sometimes that complexity is hidden in large budgets of projects that get implemented by our system integrators, our partners, and vendors themselves. And so what we're trying to do is break away at that complexity and imagine a simpler way to engage between government agencies, whether the data they have and how they move that data around, how they secure that data, how they access that data, how they provide new services to government entities or government citizens is something that we're focused on. I do have a technical background. I was an engineer implementing systems for the federal government across a number of SIs. And so I have an understanding of what it takes to actually deliver. And one of the things I found is that complexity to some extent is built into the system in the sense that organizations are designed in order to deliver massive projects that run years. And that has created a complexity in and of itself. And so what we've tried to do at Software AG Government Solutions is bring a different approach to how we share information and how we allow access to both legacy systems and modern systems. So I often talk about there being multiple generations of innovation. And I think for us, being able to adapt and connect to and engage with all variants of technologies, whether it's a mainframe, whether it's a microservice today, or whether it's something in between, whether it's a web service or a SOAP interface or JSON or whatever it is, we have the ability, and we've existed throughout all of those generations of innovation and can bring to our customers and our partners the ability to modernize any IT infrastructure using today's current standards, yet also being able to adapt to the language of past technology generation, shall we say. So that's what we do. One of the things that's really exciting is working with some of our clients and agencies on how we take what I just shared in terms of those generations of innovation and being able to apply new methodologies like APIs, being able to API enable organizations like the IRS or SSA or other organizations that we work with. And so one of the things that the pandemic has showed us is that the ability to access information by our citizens is a must. The digital age and what's occurred in the commercial world is now a mandate hanging over our government agencies, that they must respond in the same quick nature, the ability to access information at any time on your phone. That's something that agencies are now having to deliver, and they don't have systems that were designed with that in mind. The good news is we don't have to modernize by replacing. We can actually modernize in place, leveraging API technology or connectivity to those previous generations of innovation and allow them to play in today's marketplace with security being the top of mind, with speed and scale as the DoD data strategy has talked about. So we feel that our technology helps to unlock both the historical capabilities or historical data that exists within organizations and agencies, but also relevant to today's standards, whether it's, again, as I mentioned, microservices, whether it's APIs, to be able to securely provide citizens access to any information that exists within the siloed government organizations that exist today. Because being siloed is okay if you're interoperable. It's okay, but if you're siloed and not interoperable, that's where the problem comes in, and you create really organizations become bigger and bigger silos to house, well, I need to house the data myself. I can't rely on my partner organization to get access to me. So I build another mountain of data over here as opposed to just providing interoperable ability. And that's something that we can help with. So for us, I think part of it is just focusing on what we're really good at and not getting outside our lane. And so what we're really good at is connecting things and applications and data in an interoperable fashion. So we've tried to stay really focused on that mandate in terms of what we're good at. Now, that does and has extended as the marketplace has evolved to not just having one big machine with all the data on it. Now it has multiple applications. Well, now there's cloud applications, which there are hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands thousands of applications that are used across the government landscape. And all that is created is a lot of complexity on how does information get shared. And what you have is a fight across those vendors of who owns your data. And so what we're trying to enable, I guess, is the idea that we can interoperate across those worlds. I'll use an example. So in my house, I have lots of remotes. I mean, I have a remote now for my light, I have a remote for the projector, I have the remote for the stereo receiver that connects to the projector, which is the DVD player, which is a little bit of legacy application, you might say. I have so many remotes. And I think the same thing exists within our government world, shall we say, and the number of applications, and each one of them wants to say, oh, I'll tell you how to interoperate with me. What we really need is a standard. We need a simpler way. And just, today, when I go home, I just leverage a phone. I mean, it's any phone, but it allows me to, instead of having literally 10 different remotes across my home, I can have one that allows me to interoperate. And I think the same thing is true for government agency and those silos, because silos will always exist because we, as people, we tend to want to be able to, hey, this is my mission, right? And that I'm delivering for this particular government agency, and that's fine. You just need to be interoperable and to provide access to that data. And I think certainly for us, we feel like we're a good use case or a good solution provider for that use case of being able to interoperate across the largest or the smallest organizations within government, whether it's state and local or whether it's federal. We feel like we're a provider that can help you interoperate and really break down those siloed walls, or maybe keep them up but have a door so that we can interoperate with all the great assets that exist within our organization. I think first and foremost, the first thing that an agency needs to understand as they think about modernization or interoperability is, what do they own? What do they have? What does their landscape look like? Most agencies don't know the full breadth of all that exists within an organization. So modernizing it without having a complete understanding and sort of a line-by-line catalog of what I own and what the state of each of those systems are is the first challenge. I think the next piece is then, once I understand that, how do those different systems interoperate today? Because it does exist. We know that agencies interoperate in some way, but in some cases it may be a technology challenge. An application like Social Security Administration had a mainframe. They have lots of data on that mainframe, and the ability to unlock that became a little bit of a challenge because it doesn't support all the current standards, shall we say. But if I API enable that, much like many organizations and agencies have done, I then can unlock that and allow it to play really as a first-class citizen in this world of interoperability that we're talking about. Between 70 and 80% of their federal spend for IT is on existing systems. So I don't think the solution is build new systems, which certainly many vendors, including us, would want to. Let's just build a whole new system that has all the most innovative challenges. The problem is, let's leverage the assets and just re-enable them, I think is a better way. Why adding new applications in at an appropriate pace, leveraging the same technologies that we've talked about to make them interoperable? So I think the DoD data strategy is a great thing for us in the sense that it acknowledges the importance not of the applications, but the data itself. We think the idea of interoperability, accessibility, visibility, those are really important aspects in the DoD strategy that talks about. And I think these mandates are good to not be swayed by the marketing desires of technology vendors like ourselves, but really aligned to a fundamental strategy to drive vendors towards a solution that makes sense for our government and our federal employees, and specifically our DoD, where it's indicating that data is a strategic asset that we must leverage in a new way. And for us, we feel we're right to help with that.